Absence is not silence. Absence speaks. It speaks louder than words, louder than excuses, louder than promises that were never kept. And when love is ignored, absence transforms it into something far heavier than unspoken affection. It becomes a painful memory. That is the reality you must face. You cannot run from it. You cannot bury it under distractions. You cannot sugarcoat it with false hope, because the truth is this: what is ignored dies, and what is dead becomes memory. And memory, when attached to rejection, when tied to absence, does not comfort, it cuts. But here's the crucial point. You cannot let that pain define you. You cannot afford to let a ghost chain you to the past. Too many people live trapped by the idea that their worth was determined by the one who walked away. That is a lie. Your worth is not dictated by the neglect of another. Your worth is forged in how you respond to it. Absence teaches. Ignored love teaches. Pain teaches. The question is whether you will stand to the lesson, or keep repeating the same cycle, waiting for someone who already showed you they don't care. You see, love that goes unreciprocated is not love at all. It's imbalance. It's desperation mistaken for devotion. It's one person carrying the weight that was meant to be shared. And when absence steps in, it pulls away the curtain, exposing reality. It forces you to see that what you called love was, in fact, dependency. And dependency, when broken, always leaves a wound. But here's the paradox. Those wounds are not meant to weaken you. They are meant to harden you, to sharpen your perception, to make you unafraid of truth, because truth is always better than illusion. Truth is always stronger than denial. So what do you do with ignored love turned memory? You refuse to glorify it. You refuse to keep polishing the past as if it will shine differently tomorrow. You stop telling yourself stories about could have been and start confronting what actually was. What was? You were ignored. You were taken for granted. You were abandoned in silence. That's the fact. Now stop rewriting it. The future belongs to those who choose clarity over confusion, action over waiting, and dignity over begging. Absence is painful, yes, but it is also cleansing. It wipes away the illusion. It clears the space. It gives you the chance to build something real if you have the courage to let go of what was false. And let me remind you, what you tolerate sets the standard for how people treat you. If you keep romanticizing the absence of someone who ignored you, you're teaching yourself to settle for neglect. That is not love. That is self-abandonment. And the first betrayal that destroys people is not someone else's. It is their own betrayal of themselves. When you stay chained to ignored love, you betray yourself. When you keep replaying the memory as if it was a treasure instead of a wound, you betray yourself. When you put your life on hold waiting for the return of anyone who already proved their absence means indifference, you betray yourself. So stop betraying yourself. Stop worshipping ghosts. Stop confusing pain with proof of love. Love is not proven in neglect. Love is not proven in silence. Love is proven in presence, in effort, in consistency. Anything less is not love. And when you finally absorb this truth, absence stops being torment. It becomes liberation. Yes, the memory will hurt. That's inevitable. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is a messenger. Pain says, never again. Pain says, find you were worth more than what you accepted. Pain says, if you ignore me, you'll repeat this cycle again and again. Use the memory. Don't drown in it. Let it fuel your demand for higher standards. Let it push you to become someone who will never settle for half love, for silence, for absence disguised as affection. Let it sharpen your boundaries, deepen your courage, and strengthen your resolve. Because here is the law of life. What you don't confront will repeat. What you don't learn from will return. And what you keep glorifying will keep destroying you. So confront it now. Learn now. Choose strength now. And never forget, absence that turns love into memory is not tragedy. It is revelation. It is the universe tearing away illusion to show you who truly belongs in your life and who does not. You don't need to chase ghosts. You don't need to beg for presents. You don't need to romanticize rejection. Your life is worth more. Your time is worth more. Your heart is worth more. Absence may have turned ignored love into painful memory, but that pain is not your enemy. It is your turning point. Use it, rise from it. Let it be the fire that burns away weakness and forges a stronger, clearer, unstoppable version of you. That is how you win. Would you like me to make this speech sharper and shorter for delivery on stage, like a 6-7 min punch, or keep it as this extended motivational flow for reading? You said, absence reveals the true. Ignored love is no longer love. RS waiting for someone to notice them, hoping that absence is temporary, hoping that silence is a sign of something deeper. But hope without evidence is not faith. It is denial. And denial is a slow death. You cannot afford to live in denial. Life is too short, and your value is too high to be placed in the hands of someone who chose to ignore it. Absence has already delivered its verdict. It told you on is whether you will learn. Will you keep chasing ghosts, romanticizing someone who already revealed their disinterest? Or will you use that absence as fuel, as clarity, as the reason you stop lowering your worth? Understand this. Love cannot be begged for. Love cannot be extracted from silence. If someone ignores you, they are showing you exactly how much space you hold in their life. And the most dangerous mistake you can make is to confuse persistence with dignity. Chasing someone who rejects you is not devotion, it is self-abandonment. Absence is revelation. It unmasks reality. It says stop waiting, stop begging, stop thinking you are not enough, stop giving more to people who offer nothing in return. The person who ignored your love already made their choice. Now it's time you make yours. And here is the choice. Remain chained to painful memory or transform it into power. The memory of rejection can weaken you if you cling to it. It can turn into self-doubt, bitterness, end-all, SS questions of, why wasn't I enough? But if you confront it directly, if you stare at it without flinching, it becomes your fuel. It becomes the reason you raise your standards, the reason you stop tolerating half love, the reason you never again waste time on someone who disappears when you need them most. You must decide what story you will tell yourself. Will you tell yourself you were unworthy, or will you tell yourself the truth that someone else failed to recognize your worth? Will you tell yourself love is supposed to hurt, or will you finally demand that love be proven through presence, effort, and consistency? Your life will change the moment you stop worshipping absence, stop replaying old memories like they were sacred when in reality they were built on imbalance. Stop looking for meaning in silence when silence itself is the meaning. Absence says, "In not here." That is all the meaning you need. Do not glorify the past. Do not polish rejection into nostalgia. Do not tee unneglect into a story of devotion. Love that is ignored is love that never existed in the first place. True love cannot be ignored. True love shows up. True love makes space. True love does not leave you questioning whether you matter. If you feel pain now, let it be a lesson. Let it sharpen your vision. Let it remind you never to tolerate neglect again. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the message. Pain says, wake up. Pain says, stop repeating. Pain says, find you deserve more. And you do. You deserve more than absence. You deserve more than silence. You deserve more than ignored love. But deserving more requires demanding more. It requires boundaries. It requires the courage to walk away when someone shows you indifference. It requires self-respect so strong that you would rather stand alone in truth than be together in illusion. Absence reveals the truth, yes, but whether you accept that truth is up to you. Some people will waste their lives trying to turn rejection into love tea, trying to turn silence into affection. Don't be one of them. Don't let ignored love define you. Don't let painful memory become your prison. Instead, let absence set you free. Let it open your eyes. Let it give you the strength to finally see reality for what it is. The person who ignored you is not your future. The absence you feel is not your destiny. The memory you carry is not your identity. They are all just signals pointing you back to yourself, signals telling you that your value cannot be diminished by someone else's blindness. Absence is not your enemy. Rejection is not your curse. They are revelations. They are clarifications. They are the voice of reality cutting through illusion. Absence reveals the truth. Ignored love is no longer love. It's rejection in disguise. And once you see that truth clearly, you can finally stop waiting, stop begging, stop suffering, and start living with the strength, clarity, and dignity you were always meant to have. Would you like me to make the tone even harsher, more confrontational, like a wake-up slap, or keep it at this balanced but powerful motivational style? You said painful memory is the price of refusing to see reality when it was happening. Unstrong starts line, expend it, and don't heading in 800 words. ChatGPT said, perfect, you want a strong speech starting with that line, expanded into about 800 words, no headings, no fluff, only powerful motivational flow. Here's the full draft in that style. Painful memory is the price of refusing to see reality when it was happening. That is the debt you pay when you choose illusion over truth. And almost everyone pays it at some point in life. We see the red flags, we feel the silence, we notice the absence of effort, but we look away. We rewrite the story in our heads because facing the truth feels too unbearable in the moment, and so we delay. But truth does not disappear just because you refuse to see it. It waits. And when it finally comes crashing down, T does so with a weight that carves itself into memory. That memory hurts because deep down you knew. You knew the signs. You knew the lack of respect. You knew the words didn't match the actions. You knew the absence was not temporary. It was a verdict. But you kept pretending. And now the pain you feel is not only from what happened, but from betraying yourself by refusing to face it when it mattered most. This is why painful memory cuts deeper than reality itself. Reality is sharp, but it's clean. It gives you clarity. But memory is heavy. Memory lingers. Memory replays the moments when you could have walked away earlier, when you could have demanded better, when you could have refused to settle for neglect. And every replay feels like a wound reopening. So how do you stop this cycle? By facing reality immediately, no matter how hard it is. Reality will sting, but denial destroys. Denial makes you blind, and blindness makes you a prisoner. Every time you ignore the truth, you are building a prison cell around yourself. Every excuse you create is another brick. Every maybe it will change is another lock on the door. And when it finally collapses, you are left with a memory so painful it takes years to shake off. The strength you need is not to hold on longer. It is to see clearer, sooner. It is to look at actions, not promises. It is to look at presence, not words. It is to measure love by consistency, not by imagination, because imagination can lie to you. Hope can lie to you. Desire can lie to you. But reality never lies. Reality says, "Tis is what it is." If you ignore it, you will pay in regret. Many people ask, why did this happen to me? The harder question is, why did I let myself pretend I didn't see it? That is where transformation begins, by refusing to betray yourself with denial again. Because betrayal from others hurts once, but betrayal from yourself hurts for years. The truth is simple. Painful memory exists to teach you. It is not meant to crush you. It is meant to wake you up. It tells you, next time, see clearly. Next time, don't wait for absence to confirm what you already knew. Next time, walk away at the first sign of neglect. Next time, refuse to stay where you are not valued. If you do not learn this lesson, life will repeat it. You will meet the same faces in different bodies, hear the same excuses with different words, and find yourself with the same painful memories again and again. Life will keep testing you until you finally choose truth over illusion, clarity over denial, dignity over waiting. You must stop carrying memories like chains. You must stop glorifying the past as if pain was proof of love. Pain is not proof of love. Pain is proof of avoidance. Pain is proof of ignoring the obvious. Pain is proof that you refused to see reality when it was standing right in front of you. That is the price. And the only way to stop paying that price is to change. Change means you build boundaries. Change means you measure people by their actions, not your wishes. Change means you stop giving infinite chances to someone who has already proven they don't care. Change means you finally understand that love without respect is not love, that silence is not devotion, that absence is not mystery, it is rejection. And here's the good news: the very memory that once crushed you can also liberate you. It can become the fire that burns away your illusions. It can become the reminder that you will never again betray yourself. It can become the sharp edge that cuts through every excuse, every false hope, every fantasy. Pain can either destroy you or build you. The difference lies in whether you keep lying to yourself or finally face the truth. When you face the truth, you grow. When you face the truth, you get stronger. When you face the truth, painful memory loses its sting because it becomes wisdom. Wisdom is nothing more than pain transformed into clarity. And clarity is freedom. So here is the choice. See in front of you, keep running from reality and collect more painful memories, or confront reality now and free yourself. It's that simple. Life will not bend for your denial. Reality will not adjust itself to your fantasy. You must adjust yourself to truth. Painful memory is heavy, but it is not meant to be carried forever. It is meant to be read, understood, and released. The only people who remain trapped are the ones who insist on rewriting the past instead of learning from it. Don't be one of them. Don't glorify rejection. Don't romanticize absence. Don't confuse neglect with love. Look at your life with clear eyes. Look at people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Look at actions, not promises. Look at presence, not excuses. Because every time you refuse to see, you guarantee a future filled with painful memory. Stop paying that price. See now, act now, demand now, refuse to settle now. Painful memory may be the price of refusing to see reality when it was happening, but you are not obligated to keep paying it. You can decide right here, right now, that denial will no longer be your way of living. That illusion will no longer be your drug. That truth, no matter how sharp, will be your foundation. And when you make that decision, you'll discover something powerful. Reality is not the enemy. Reality is your ally. It does not destroy you, it frees you. And once you embrace that, you'll never again be haunted by painful memories, because you will have faced the truth the first time when it mattered most. Do you want me to make the next one in an even more aggressive wake-up slap tone, shorter, sharper sentences, or keep this deep, heavy motivational flow? You said strength comes from learning, not clinging. Use the past as a teacher, not a prison. Strong stance starts line, expend it, and don't heading in 800 words. ChatGPT said, here's the full 800-word motivational speech built from your strong line, written in a direct, powerful style. No headings, no fluff, only focus flow. Strength comes from learning, not clinging. Use the past as a teacher, not a prison. That is the dividing line between people who rise and people who remain stuck. Some hold on to the past as if clinging tighter will change it. They replay what was said, what was done, what was lost, as if repetition will rewrite the story. But the past never bends to memory. It does not change under your grip. Clinging only tightens the chains, while learning unlocks them. Your past is not a home. It is not meant to be lived in. It is a classroom. It exists to teach you, to refine you, to burn away your illusions, and to prepare you for what's next. The pain you carry was not given to break you, it was given to instruct you. But if you refuse the lesson, then pain becomes prison. Too many people choose prison. They live in cycles of regret, bitterness, nostalgia. They glorify the good moments, demonize the bad ones, and in doing so, they never move forward. They are trapped. Not because of what happened, but because of how they interpret it. They turn memory into identity. They turn wounds into permanent definitions. They refuse to accept that what's done is done. And so they suffer again and again, not because of the past itself, but because of their refusal to let it teach them. You cannot afford to live that way. Every scar you carry, every mistake you made, every betrayal you endured, it has value only if you learn from it. Otherwise, it's just wasted suffering. Pain without learning is pain multiplied. But pain with reflection becomes wisdom, and wisdom is strength. Strength does not come from pretending the past didn't hurt. It does not come from suppressing memory or erasing history. Strength comes from staring at the wound and asking, what is this teaching me? What mistake will I never repeat again? What truth was hidden in this pain that I refused to see before? That is how you turn the past into a teacher. That is how you walk forward sharp, clearer, stronger. The alternative is clinging. Clinging to old love, clinging to lost opportunities, clinging to anger. Clinging feels safe because it's familiar, but it's poison. It keeps you tied to what no longer exists. And the more you cling, the weaker you become, because all your energy is wasted holding on to something that will never return. You cannot build a future with hands full of yesterday. Ask yourself, are you learning or are you clinging? When you think of the people who hurt you, do you replay it endlessly, or do you use it as proof that you'll never tolerate that treatment again? When you think of the opportunities you missed, do you sink into regret, or do you sharpen your focus so you never let the next one slip away? When you think of the mistakes you made, do you drown in shame, or do you carry the wisdom forward to make better choices? Learning frees you, clinging cages you, the choice is always yours. And here is a deeper truth, clinging is weakness, DI. Disguised as loyalty. People cling to failed relationships and call it love. They cling to nostalgia and call it devotion. They cling to anger and call it justice. But weakness always disguises itself. True strength is not the ability to hold on. True strength is the ability to let go when something no longer serves your growth. The past is heavy. If you drag it into your future, you will collapse under the weight. But if you extract its lessons and leave the rest behind, you walk forward light, fast, and unbreakable. That is what separates those who grow from those who decay. Remember this, every time you revisit the past without learning, you are choosing to re-experience the pain voluntarily. You are pressing the same bruise again and again and wondering why it hurts. The past already happened. You don't owe it your endless suffering. You owe it your attention long enough to learn, and then you're disciplined to let it go. Strength is built by this process. Hurt, reflect, learn, release. Grow. Anything else is weakness. Anything else is self-betrayal. Because clinging is not loyalty to the past, it is betrayal of your future. Your future is waiting for you to be brave enough to release the chains. Your next chapter cannot begin while your hands are gripping the last one. Growth demands space. Space comes only when you unclench your grip. Yes, the past was painful. Yes, it left scars. But scars are not cages. Scars are reminders that you survived, that you endured, that you carry wisdom now that you didn't have before. Stop treating them as prisons. Start treating them as proof of strength. Strength comes from learning. It comes from saying, "Set will not happen to me again." It comes from saying, "I know better now, so I will do better now." It comes from turning memory into a weapon, not a wound. So stop clinging, stop replaying, stop glorifying what's gone. The past has only one purpose, to instruct. Once you've learned, you owe it nothing more. Carry the less. Son, leave the weight. That is how you rise. And never forget this, if you refuse to learn, life will repeat the lesson until you do. You will meet the same patterns in different people, the same pain in different places, the same betrayal in different faces. Life will test you again and again until you finally decide to stop clinging and start learning. Don't let your suffering be wasted. Don't let your pain be useless. Strength comes from learning, not clinging. Use the past as a teacher, not a prison. That is how you break free. That is how you grow. That is how you ensure that what once hurt you will never again have the power to hold you down. Do you want me to make the next one in a more intense, sharp, drill sergeant style, shorter, cutting sentences, or keep it in this deep, steady, motivational flow? You said your value is proven not in what you endure, but in what you refuse to endure again. When strong start starts line, expend it. And don't heading in 800 words. ChatGPT said, her. Ease the 800-word motivational speech built from your strong starting line. Direct, no fluff, no headings, only powerful flow that stays sharp and focused. Your value is proven not in what you endure, but in what you refuse to endure again. Endurance alone is not strength. Anyone can survive pain if they have no other choice. Anyone can sit in neglect, swallow disrespect, or tolerate betrayal. But endurance without boundaries is not proof of worth, it is proof of tolerance for being diminished. Your true value is revealed when you draw the line, when you refuse to let history repeat itself, when you say, "I will not suffer this again." Think about it. Many people confuse endurance with love. They stay in relationships where they are taken for granted, telling themselves that their loyalty is proof of depth. They endure silence, endure lies, endure absence. But endurance without change does not elevate you, it erodes you. It tells the world you will accept less than what you deserve. The world always believes you. Refusal, however, that is strength. Refusal is dignity. Refusal is self-respect in action. It is standing in the face of pain and saying, "This was enough. Once taught me the lesson, twice will not happen." Refusal is when your wounds stop being open scars and become sharp boundaries. That is where transformation begins. You see, endurance without wisdom is slavery to the past. It is repeating the same mistakes under the illusion of patience. But patience without direction is not virtue, it is self-abandonment. And when you abandon yourself, you cannot expect others to honor you. So the question you must ask yourself is not, how much can I endure? But what will I no longer endure? Because that is where your value is set. If you tolerate lies, you will live surrounded by lies. If you tolerate neglect, you will be fed absence. If you tolerate disrespect, it will become the language of your relationships. What you refuse sets the standard. What you refuse shapes your destiny. Do not mistake pain for proof of love. Do not mistake sacrifice for permanence. Do not mistake endurance for value. If the cost of connection is your peace, your dignity, your self-respect, then it is not connection, it is a prison. And every day you remain silent in that prison, you are proving not your strength, but your fear of being free. Refuse it. Refuse to accept less than honesty. Refuse to wait in silence for someone who has already left you in their heart. Refuse to shrink yourself so others can feel larger. Refuse to lower your standards just to avoid being alone. Because the truth is, being alone with dignity is infinitely stronger than being surrounded by people who diminish you. The world respects boundaries, not begging. The world respects refusal, not endurance. The world respects the person who can walk away from what insults their soul far more than the one who clings to it out of desperation. Your refusal tells the world, "And I know my vow." And when you live like that, others are forced to recognize it too. Pain will come, yes. Betrayal will happen. Disappointment is part of life. You cannot avoid every wound. But wounds are not the definition of your worth. What defines you is how you respond to them. Do you keep allowing? It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is firm, it is quiet self-respect. And quiet self-respect moves mountains. Stop glorifying endurance as proof of love. Endurance without change is proof of fear. Stop telling yourself that suffering makes you noble. Suffering without refusal makes you complicit. The nobility comes not in staying through pain, but in refusing to be diminished by it again. The truth is this: the world will only give you what you demand. If you demand nothing, you will receive nothing. If you demand respect, you will lose some people, but you will gain your life. If you demand honesty, you will face uncomfortable truths, but you will build real connections. If you demand presence, some will leave, but those who remain will be real. Your life is too short to prove your worth by how much you can endure. Anyone can endure. The brave ones, the strong ones, the ones who rise, they are the ones who refuse. They refuse neglect, they refuse lies, they refuse silence discreet, said as love. They refuse to be prisons of their own tolerance. Your value is not proven in your scars, it is proven in your standards, not in your tears, but in your boundaries, not in your loyalty to those who betray you, but in your loyalty to yourself. Endurance shows what you can survive. Refusal shows what you will no longer accept, and that, more than anything, is what defines your strength, your dignity, and your future. So remember this always. Your value is proven not in what you endure, but in what you refuse to endure again. Walk away when it's time. Close the door when the lesson is clear. Refuse the chains. Refuse the repetition. Refuse the prison, because refusal is not weakness. It is the loudest declaration of your worth.